It, it life, there's things in life that's hard. There's hard shit in life. There's hard decisions that people have to make in life. You know, who to marry, when to have kids, type of career you want. And it, ah, there's there's certain things that's just obvious in life. You know what I'm saying? There's things that's just obvious. It's a simple system, really, right? It can't be. There's certain things that don't need to be hard in life. Like, it's really no brainers. There's just certain things that people should just naturally see and be like, if the title says it, right? Supposedly, The Last of Us 2 will not have multiplayer. Supposedly, and I sent a tweet and I tagged Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann asking them specifically if it's true. So hopefully they'll release an official statement on their Twitter. But as of now, it seems the game may not have multiplayer. This is not hard. It's not hard. This is pretty easy. You know, The Last of Us launched with single player and multiplayer for $60. With all these multiplayer modes, and they crafted an amazing game for both single player and multiplayer. That's how this started. So the game started out the way it is. It's a single player game, mostly more recognized for a single player aspect, but it has a multiplayer component. That's how the game started. Okay? The multiplayer, because many of his unique modes, was also praised. And people enjoyed the uniqueness of it. Now, apparently, with the sequel, they removed the multiplayer component to it. So it's like going backwards. They went backwards. They started out and introduced a franchise to the world, right? A game with amazing single player experience and a mode of multiplayer that many people enjoyed. Granted, it's not as big as Call of Duty. It's not as big as Fortnite. Sometimes not every multiplayer has to be as big as those games, right? But within its own right, the community enjoyed it. And they presented a complete package, right? And now, apparently, if Naughty Dog's able to confirm it, they took an entire mode out of the game and just focus on the single player. Now, I'm one of the big proponents that Sony doesn't need to create a whole bunch of new multiplayer because that's not what really they're good at, right? And given the fact that the third party industry just kills us with relentless multiplayer games, with many of them are now being free to play, like Apex Legend, Fortnite, they just keep throwing a lot of multiplayer. I'm not a big proponent of just throwing more multiplayer out there, right? So I'm not the big multiplayer guy, okay, by any means. But when you do establish something, you need to maintain that bar you set and try to exceed it, not relegate it or go backwards. All right? It's almost the same situation. And don't think that Sony didn't get heat because Sony pulled the same shit with GT Sport. Remember when the game launched, it was online only. Right? And the reason why I'm bringing that up, let's not damage control the removal of the multiplayer. Because when Sony went online only, everybody flipped out. Right? And said it was bullshit. Because Gran Turismo always had single player modes. Whatever all those modes it did in racing circuits, all that stuff. And people had no problem calling the bullshit of less content than the previous Gran Turismos, right? And with that pressure, Sony updated the game with single player content and all that stuff, right? And they updated it pretty fast, which always led me to believe they always had it there. Because you're not going to create all this stuff in a month, right? Right? So with this, this is insane. Absolutely insane. Insane that Naughty Dog would think that this is a good idea to do. Insane that they would start out a game in a particular manner, and then when they release the sequel, they're going to provide less. And I don't agree damage controlling this at all. Shout out to Vedra. He said The Last of Us single player will be on 2 full pack Blu-ray. Xbox here filmongering when Crackdown 3 with both single player multiplayer. They even fill a Blu-ray halfway. With their logic, RDR2 don't have multiplayer to this day. All right, so let me say that again. The Last of Us 2 single player. Shout out to Vedra with the super chat. He says The Last of Us 2 single player will be on 2 full pack Blu-rays. Xbox here filmongering. When Crackdown 3 with both single player multiplayer didn't even fill up Blu-rays halfway. With their logic, RDR2 don't have multiplayer to this day. I'm going to say this, and thank you for the super chat. Fuck the Xbox and console war. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. This has nothing to do with them. All right? This honestly has nothing to do with them. Listen, Xbox is the bottom tier bar. Let's not lower our standards because of that box. That's the low standard. Let's not. Naughty Dog's the gold tier. It's the platinum tier. They're the top standard. If you're the best in the business, you got to be held to being best. You got to be held to that standard. Let's not compare them to the shitty developers Microsoft got. Let's not do that. Let's not do that, all right? At the end of the day, Naughty Dog's the top tier developer. Well, guess what? They're the big dogs. They're going to have to get criticized as the big dogs, all right? Just because Microsoft sucks doesn't mean Naughty Dog gets to suck. It doesn't work that way. Just because Xbox released trash games doesn't mean PlayStation developers get a buy. They don't get a buy. They're the gold standard, so they have to be treated like the gold standard. If you don't treat them like the gold standard, and you make excuses for them like Xbox developers, then guess what they're going to end up becoming? You're going to end up becoming Xbox developers. So if you want them to stay top tier elite, you have to hold them accountable top tier elite, okay? right? If Tom Brady, if you're into football, American football, if Tom Brady starts sucking, you can't say, well, he's still better than Eli Manning. That's not how it works. You can't do that. You understand what I'm saying? You can't do that. And somebody put, you don't play games. And keep in mind, I'm not even in my house. I'm in Sicily. In a hotel room. So while he's looking at my video, I don't play games. That's just how silly people are. We cannot make excuses for this. Okay? We cannot make excuses for any of this. All right? Naughty Dog released a game that was a complete package for what The Last of Us was, which was a single player, right? They released multiple multiplayer modes. In fact, they even added a free mode, if I remember, right? And they also added, they did one single player DLC, right? And I know some people, I see some tweets, people saying that they hope people don't boycott it, but I wouldn't blame them if they boycott it. I mean, think about it. If you paid $60, right, and you got single player or multiplayer, and you were the ones that enjoyed both, now the sequel comes out, they're not giving you multiplayer. Are you still going to drop your $60 just for the single player? That's on the user. So I can't knock anybody that decides to be like, you know what, I'm not buying The Last of Us. Or if they wait until a price drop. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, that motherfucker sounds like a jet engine. I hope the PS5 is better designed than this. You know? Naughty Dog set a standard. And keep in mind, this is at least the second time Sony did something like this. Again, the first one was with GT Sport. They tried to make it online only, and they called flack. And now Naughty Dog pulled this stunt. They should get some flack for this. They should. We shouldn't bypass this. Because if you let Naughty Dog get away with this, Sony's going to keep doing it. They're going to keep pushing the envelope. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it's just it's a simple concept. It's not really hard. Just hold the same standard you did for the first game. In fact, I remember when Uncharted released the first one, it had no multiplayer. And it got bashed. It was a single player only campaign, and there was many games that had single player campaigns plus the multiplayer. So Naughty Dog added multiplayer to Uncharted 2. And it made the whole game amazing. You know, complete package. They did the works. And Uncharted 2 just blew up to popularity and fame. So obviously when they released The Last of Us, they, right off the gate, included multiplayer. Now again, as I said before, I'm not the big multiplayer proponent for Sony, right? But the games they did establish for multiplayer, they need to maintain it. What's funny is, and again, I'm not, think about it this way. What's funny is, right? Last gen, online multiplayer was free. You didn't pay anything to play online across any game on PlayStation. And yet during that gen, Sony made more multiplayer games during the PS3 era than they did now with the PS4. Shout out to Vedja. Thank you for the super chat. He says, ND took notes from how Rockstar Games have been doing with their online portion of the games. They'd rather save this space to that single player experience and release a free, no downloadable online multiplayer patch. Well, that's assuming they release the multiplayer later on. If they did that, they need to make a statement. But right now, we have no official statement that the game is launching single player first, and then the multiplayer will come out, a month later or whatever. If they did that, all right, perfectly fine. If they took the Rockstar method out, where they did it with Rockstar, did it with GT5, they did it with RDR 2, released the single player, a month later released the multiplayer with an update or download. All right, got it. No big deal. Not even worth a discussion. Sure, some people will be pissed off because they can't play the multiplayer day one. Doesn't matter. When you buy the game, you're gonna have access to multiplayer. It's just gonna come out and be unlocked at a later date. No big deal. I wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't even talk about it. Wouldn't even be a topic. But as it stands right now, and hopefully Naughty Dog can make a statement to clarify this. But if they do come out and say, hey, there's no multiplayer. And sure, they could come out and say, but it's going to be the biggest single player experience ever. Yada, yada, yada. Hype quote, advertisement. They can say whatever they want to say. But the result is the same. They created a bar. They created a standard with The Last of Us. What they were supposed to do is try to exceed that standard on both sides of the game. The single player and the multiplayer. That should have been their focus. It's not like PlayStation has a lot of multiplayer developers. So the few that they did have, they should try to exceed their capabilities. Shout out to Caleb Hunter. Thank you for the super chat. Last of Us multiplayer was pure trash. Glad it's gone. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Oof. Man. It's not good at all. It's not good at all. Now, granted, we haven't heard much about the multiplayer. Well, maybe now we know why, because there is none. But I always assumed that as we get closer to launch, they will talk more about the multiplayer, right? Maybe release the beta. Nobody batted an eyelash when Rockstar canceled the single-player DLC for GTA 5, which was planned from the start. I will say this. I wouldn't put those two together on the same wavelength. Because one's a DLC, which you have to buy separately. And we're talking about a mode that comes with the game day one. Again, The Last of Us launched with multiplayer. It's what The Last of Us is. It's a single player game and a multiplayer game. Okay? That's how it is. Let me be fair. Since everybody wants to bring up other games, remember when Call of Duty took out the single player? Everybody flipped out. Right? Yet factually, not even half the people would beat the single player game of Call of Duty. Majority of the people who play Call of Duty played it for the multiplayer. They did not play it for the single player. Yet we still flipped out. Go ahead. Who buys Call of Duty for single player? Everybody. Oh, I always buy single player. Come on now. We all know Call of Duty is for the multiplayer experience. That's why I put it on the map. That's what makes it be played all year long. Call of Duty, right? But yet we still champion the single player aspect of a game that mostly people play for the multiplayer. So how is this any different? How is it any different? Somebody retracted the super chat. Sorry I didn't get to read it. How is that any different? The reality is the game launched with two modes, single player and multiplayer. You don't go backwards. You go forwards. You do better. We all have faith and we know the single player is going to be amazing. But why can't Naughty Dog also elevate what they started? Who the hell knows if they could have made a much better multiplayer for The Last of Us and it would have been a big hit. Remember, we're talking about Naughty Dog. We're talking about the big dogs of gaming. You know what I'm saying? So if this is if they're the big dogs, then we got to hold them accountable as the big dogs. We can't make excuses for them. If you make excuses for them making bad decisions, then they're just gonna get weaker. They set a standard for themselves, right? And they recognize the standard because again, Uncharted launched without multiplayer. They fixed that because they saw something was wrong. They saw they needed to step their game up, and they did with Uncharted 2. They did with Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, the Uncharted DLC that they made into a separate game and still have multiplayer. And The Last of Us, when they introduced it, it had multiplayer, unique multiplayer, grounded and all that other stuff that had in the game. And again, you're talking to a guy who's not the super big multiplayer for these games, okay? But I understand when a developer sets the bar, they need to maintain that bar. At a minimum, maintain it. But ideally, surpass it. We would want Naughty Dog to get even better. Wait, you defended Blackout 4? No, I'm not defending Blackout 4. I made it a point. Shout out to Caleb Hunter. Understand my point, all right? I haven't played really Call of Duty. I buy Call of Duty every year, right? But I played the single player. I played the multiplayer for 2 weeks. So I do enjoy the multiplayer, right, of Call of Duty. I mean, the single player of Call of Duty. I do enjoy it, okay? So when they removed the single player, right, I didn't like it. Despite the fact that I know majority of the people that buy Call of Duty is for the multiplayer, okay? So the excuse of why people mostly play doesn't hold weight. If the game had all these modes, you don't release the next game with less modes. You don't take away content. Safe said, am excited for PlayStation 5, question mark. Am I excited for PlayStation 5? Of course. And here's the thing. I know people are saying right now, because I'm seeing a lot of it, right, is, well, they're focusing on a single player. Let me ask you this. Was there a problem with The Last of Us first one with single player? Did they have an issue? Because the single player is amazing. And it still had multiplayer. So now all of a sudden, Naughty Dog can't do single player because multiplayer is in the way? Is that what we're saying now? Because I'm seeing, they got to focus on single player. So Naughty Dog lost the ability to make a great single player game, so that's why they had to cut out multiplayer. They're incapable of doing that. Even though Uncharted 4 had a great single player, Uncharted 3 had a great single player. In fact, the 3 Uncharteds that had great single player, to me better than the first one, have multiplayer. They did a better job with the single player campaign than the first one that didn't have multiplayer campaign. So are we saying that now Naughty Dog is incapable of doing both? They lost? Is it because they lost Amy Hennig? Is that it? Or they lost that guy to the initiative? What's going on? Like, now Naughty Dog's not good now? I don't understand where damage control. I don't understand how anyone could be able to damage control this. I don't understand. Like, literally, I don't understand this. It bugs me out. It's the game launched. Naughty Dog made an outstanding game that has single player and multiplayer. Now all of a sudden they can't? Did they lose that many people to Microsoft or something? All the good guys, I can understand if it's a new IP, like let's say like Gorilla, right? Gorilla made Killzone, single player, multiplayer, right? They made a brand new IP. They made an RPG, action RPG called Horizon Zero Dawn. Does not have multiplayer, but that's understandable. It's a brand new game, brand new everything, brand new vision, right? So that, okay, you made a new IP, new vision, and you didn't want multiplayer. Okay, that makes sense. I get that. If Naughty Dog's next IP, supposed new IP, whatever they release, is single player only, okay, got it. Single player only. So new IP, that's their vision. All right? You never got mad about God of War removing multiplayer. Why? So God of War 1, 2, 3 have multiplayer? Or you talking about Ascension? Because I think it was Ascension that had multiplayer, right? You know, the version of God of War that sucked ass compared to the first three? Because God of War 1, 2, and 3 didn't have multiplayer. God of War, the two God of Wars on the PSP handheld didn't have multiplayer. The one that did have multiplayer was the one nobody really wanted to play and buy. So are we really comparing that now? Are we really? I mean, fuck, then fine. God of War, the new God of War sucks because it doesn't have a jump button. Like, I mean, like, are we really gonna damage control Naughty Dog on this one? Are you telling me we're not gonna hold Naughty Dog to the standard? Is that what we're doing? So it's okay? Fuck it. If Xbox could do it, so can PlayStation developers? Is that it? Is okay? Is that it? Let's make excuses. Fuck it. Xbox sucks, so I guess PlayStation developers could suck. Fuck it. If that's what we want, fuck it. Don't worry about it. They could be as good as Coalition. Why hold Naughty Dog to the standard, right? It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Microsoft did it, so fuck it. Microsoft sucks, so fuck it. PlayStation can suck too. It's alright. You know what I'm saying? It's alright. Naughty Dog, don't worry about it. It's okay. You guys are alright. Hey, fuck it. Next time with the next game, I don't know. It's just unbelievable. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, shout out to Ken Hunt. Thank you for the super chat. But I'm going to be honest. And you guys know I always keep it real. I don't understand if you see something wrong. And this is clearly wrong. Even if you don't care, right? Right? Even if you don't care, you should see the direction go. If you don't tell the company, right? If you don't tell the company, right, that they made a bad decision, guess what they're going to keep on doing? They're going to keep making bad decisions, right? And then eventually they're going to fall flat on their face, right? That's just the reality. We seen who that happened to. We seen the Xbox community do that to their own console. We seen them damage control all the wrong moves Microsoft did. And eventually, where did it lead them? You know what I'm saying? If the decision's done on The Last of Us not having multiplayer, then it's done. It is what it is. There's nothing. If they didn't do it, then it's not coming. But we would be crazy not to let Naughty Dog know and be like, hey, Naughty Dog, it was a mistake. It was a huge mistake what you did. You created a product, and now you pretty much lowered it. And they need to understand that. Naughty Dog needs to understand, you know what? Especially now, like I said before, the PS3 Online was free. And yet, Sony released more multiplayer games for a free network as compared to what they did this gen on a paid online network. Right? And again, everybody, if you've been on my channel for the longest, you know that I'm not the biggest hardcore multiplayer guy that pushes multiplayer and everything. You know I'm not like that. But you have to ask yourself, when the online was free, Sony threw everything to include the kitchen sink when it came to multiplayer. Not that they're charging us to play online, they release less content for multiplayer. So the few games that they do have for multiplayer, don't you think they should maintain it? And not only maintain it, but try to find ways to make it bigger and better? You know? That's just how I see it. All right? But again, this whole video could be pointless if Naughty Dog comes out, hey, the article's fake news. This is the story of multiplayer. It's gonna come out after launch, 30 days after launch, whatever. You will have multiplayer. Cool then. It was fake news. Whatever. I'll probably if they release a statement saying yada yada yada, I'll delete this video because I'll delete it and I'll come back and do a retracted video. But if it's true and Naughty Dog confirms, yeah, no multiplayer, it's an L. Naughty Dog gets an L. Naughty Dog takes a huge L on this one. Terrible decision. The wrong decision. It's a wrong precedence for Sony to take. Again, it would have been better if they just release it at a later date and they say, hey, the multiplayer will come out, the game launches February 21st, multiplayer launches March 21st or April 21st, whatever. But you buy the game, you'll get it. But let's say they needed more time, whatever, beta test, whatever. But to completely remove it on a game that started out with it, that's a bad sign. It's a bad look. It's a bad look on an ecosystem. It's a bad look on an ecosystem that charges you to play online. It's a bad look when Sony starts talking about, oh yeah, we need to put more multiplayer games. They even said, Sony even said they're considering, and it's a small consideration, that they might put multiplayer games on PC. What the fuck? I'm sorry, bro. I'm going to be real. And I'm going to tell you, I know some people be like, oh, Xbox. Fuck Xbox. Fuck that console. Fuck it. Like, really? Why we got to bring up that trash? I'm not even getting on Scarlet Next Gen. Screw the console. That trash has nothing to do with this situation. It's an irrelevant piece of plastic. Don't bring it up in this video. Don't talk about it. I don't care about the cracking is lacking. I don't care about that platform. It doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with this. Nothing. That's low grade, okay? All right? When I talk about how my New York Yankees are doing, I don't compare them to the New York Mets. The fuck does a shitty team got to do with the New York Yankees? I'm talking about a team that's on its way to the playoffs, trying to win a World Series championship here. All right? And if they lose, I ain't going to have a reconciliation saying, well, at least they did better than the New York Mets. I don't give a fuck. You don't make excuses by naming trash. That's not how it works. There's a standard. We got standards here, right? It's like Golden State, right? Golden State lost to Toronto. Well, the consolation prize isn't, well, they did better than the New York Knicks. I'm pretty sure Golden State don't want to hear that. Golden State fans don't want to hear that the Warriors had a better season than the Knicks. No, they lost the championship. That's it. That's it. All right? Saying you're better than the New York Knicks is not a consolation prize. You lost to Toronto. Golden State lost to Toronto. That's it. Being better than the Knicks is not something to give props. You don't get props saying you're better than the New York Knicks. No. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You don't go after the shit guy that sucks to make yourself feel better. Unbelievable. I don't know what else to say. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. I'm just going to leave this off. I'm going to calm down, just play some more games. And then hopefully Naughty Dog will clarify this. Hopefully it's blown out of proportion. Hopefully it was fake news. Hopefully, stupid shit. If Naughty Dog tweets out, it has multiplayer, the site is fake news, I'll delete this video, make a retraction video, and be like, that's what's up. But if it has no multiplayer, it's a fucking L for Naughty Dog. That's it. It's an L. There's no way around it. Bad decision, plain and simple. That's not how you do things. That's not how you do business. Not at all. All right? Especially Naughty Dog released more multiplayer on a free online network with PS3 than they are with a paid network with PlayStation 4. Shout out to M2K for Super Chat. Console war shit aside, peace speaking fast. Maintain greatness, keep the foot on the gas. Appreciate the Super Chat. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And for all those people I see on the chat, well, I'm going to buy it, I don't care. No one's telling you not to buy it. All right? No one's telling you not to buy it. I'm not here advocating to boycott. I don't do none of that dumb shit. Boycott games. I don't do that shit. You guys buy what the hell you want to buy. I'm not doing no petitions. I don't do no change.org BS. I don't sign anything. F that. I ain't got time for none of that stuff. I don't tell anybody on the game to what they buy or shouldn't buy. I don't care about that. You understand what I'm saying? That's it. No, I'm not telling nobody not to buy. I'm going to buy the game anyway. All right? But I'm going to let Naughty Dog know that this is not the way to do it. That they made a bad decision. And hopefully hopefully the community of gamers could keep their foot on the gas and let Sony know these aren't the decisions you should be making. All right? It's one thing making a new IP that's single player only, like Horizon Zero Dawn, no issues. It's a new IP. I think Killzone is trash. And if Guerrilla released the next Killzone that's online multiplayer only, I will rag on that if they took the single player out. Because that's not how you do business. That's not how it is. You know? I don't even play GT. I don't even play any of those games. Gran Turismo. I don't play racing games. But when they announced GT Sports online only, I was like, bad fucking move. Bad move. But at the end of the day, it seems like some people agree, don't agree, which is fine. You know, I don't ask anybody in my chat to suppress their opinions. I don't ask anybody to live in a vacuum and a void. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Super Chat for expressing their opinions. Everybody holds their opinion. My opinion, bad move. And I hope those that feel it's also a bad opinion are vocal about it. Those that don't feel it's a bad move, you have that right to opinion. Nobody's knocking you out for saying that. It is what it is. Everybody's going to have their view on this. But for those of you who are like me, voice your opinion. Let Naughty Dog know, bad move. You know, just like how gamers let Sony and Polyphony Digital know that Gran Turismo online only, bad move. Simple. So that way they can get the message. For the rest of you that don't care, that's cool. You know, because at the end of the day, as long as you get what you want for the money that you're willing to pay for, that's all that really matters. You know, if you don't really care about the multiplayer, then you're good. But from my angle, for me, the way I see it, bad move on Naughty Dog. And hopefully, they don't make this mistake again. I think it's too late. If it's confirmed, there's nothing you're going to do. The game's not going to have multiplayer. It is what it is. I don't know. But with that, this is your boy Porter Rock 77, your only friend in these YouTube streets. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let's continue the conversation on Twitter, PorterRock77_. If you're new to the channel, if you're just checking me out for the first time, hit the like button and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications for more future content. All right? You guys take care. Have a blessed day. Right now I'm playing Metro Last Light. Knocking that out in preparation for Metro Exodus. And I'll see you guys when I see you. You guys take care. How do I stop this shit on this? Peace.